Markets are selling off, and a lot of it has to do with the uncertainty that Palantir is showcasing. The big question, are people and companies over investing into AI? And based off of Alex Karp, who is the CEO and founder of Palantir, markets did not like what he had to say, and he's pissed. He's pissed that people are aggressively shorting his stock. Now, you guys let me know down in the comment section what you think. Is he in the right or is he in the wrong? Check this out.
Trying to understand just if you look at sort of the growth trajectory, the sales, how much of the sales, frankly, I think actually even there was a huge part coming from even existing customers, and just what the scale of this thing ultimately looks like in your mind.
Okay, there are two parts. Of course, when I hear short sellers attacking what I believe is clearly the most important software company in America, therefore in the world in terms of our impact, simply to make money, and trying to call the AI revolution into question, where we have this anomalous numbers, 114, rule of 40, et cetera. It just is super triggering, because these people, they could pick on any company in the world. They have to pick on the one that actually helps people, that actually has made money for the average person.
This part just is a wild take to me. Obviously, he thinks, and my thing is like, I love his passion for Palantir. I'm not invested in Palantir. I think it's incredibly overvalued in my opinion. That's just my 2 cents. But I love when CEOs are fully obsessed in their space. No question about it. Like, you can see that it's almost delusion, right? Where it is so obsessive that he's like, I just don't get why anyone would want to short us. Very simple. You are trading at over 600 times of what your company actually earns. That's it. It is like my simple answer to his question is, why would anyone want to short us? Because you're overvalued, because you're overhyped up. Markets often get ahead of themselves, and because it doesn't take away what you've done, it's great, right? Just like I gave an example yesterday where there could be a vendor in the corner that has a very successful business. Every year it continues to grow 25, 50% year after year. That's great, right? He sells potato chips and his sales are growing. At the end of the day, he only produces X amount of revenue. It's only going to be worth so much, but it's growing. Again, but it could only be worth so much. Now, this is an extreme example. It's Palantir. It's leading the AI revolution, supposedly. But guess what? It's a $500 billion market cap with a company that produces less than $1 billion in net income. There's a disconnect there.
That is actually supporting our warfighters. Why do they have to go after us? And I'll tell you what, it's crazy motivating, because I'll tell you why the short sellers are constantly getting screwed by Palantir. Because every time they short us, we just are like tripling down on getting the better numbers, and part, honestly, to make them poorer. But
again, another wild take. Moments like this, when you see CEOs talk like this about people who choose to short them, it's an opportunity. They see an overhyped up, overvalued company within a short period of time. There's opportunity to short, because that most likely a retracement is inevitable. Like, it's not personal. It's your company became incredibly overvalued, and it's not just the only one, right? That would be a unique story. It's a handful of companies. Let's talk about Opendoor. Opendoor in 3 to 4 months shot up 1,000%. Oh my gosh, but it's an American company. Your company is bullish because current irrational markets support that valuation. As soon as markets begin to correct themselves, not saying that they have to right now, but as soon as they do, companies like Palantir will always crash the hardest. Think back to the trade war during tariffs. If we pull it up very quickly, again, just want to show you on the day chart, and dating back from when the trade war happened, from the highs of 124 to the lows of 65 to 66, what was that retracement? Again, it's always the most overvalued companies that correct the hardest. Nearly a 50% retracement. And it wasn't just Palantir that sold off. Let's make that very clear. But it was Palantir that sold off nearly 50%. Because again, the most overvalued companies during irrational markets are always the ones that will crash the hardest. And I think this is what he's like choosing to ignore. The reason you are so successful right now based off of market cap is based off of current market condition. It supports irrational valuations. It's based off of current sentiment. But as soon as that changes, you know you're going to get destroyed. You know it. And it's not personal. It's just you never belonged up here based off of valuation. You're doing great. You're growing at a really great and impressive pace. And that's great. But again, retracements happen all the time. They're healthy. It really allows savvy investors to be able to load up at more oversold levels. I could consider myself investing in Palantir once it becomes less overvalued. But as of right now, again, I'm happy to see it push, but also I'm not going to hate it when it sells off 50% because no one should be surprised, right? Let's go ahead and see what he has to say at the end.
Okay, so the question of the actual power of the business and what is it worth? I mean, at the end of the day, one of the things that is actually in the book, the biography, and that I actually think you always have to ask is the person persuasive or are they right? And across all sorts of movements, political, I mean, you see this on the regressive part of the Democratic Party. We're about to probably have a complete disaster. I was born in New York. But if you actually said, do these things actually work? Everyone's like, of course I'm not going to vote for that. But instead they ask, does it work in theory? The theoreticians, you have to ask, how often have you been right? And Palantir is about pragmatic decisions that create unfair advantages for America and its allies. And on that, we've been right for almost 20 years on all major decisions, and I believe we'll be right going forward. Now, you could argue, I don't know, they're constantly but they thought Palantir was overvalued at 10. They thought it was overvalued at 20. I'm not even here saying what the valuation is. I'm just saying find a company in the world that has a rule.
He wouldn't say what the valuation is because he knows that there's no way to justify it. It's one of the main reasons that Palantir is selling off so much today. It's because he made a very brash comment. And I think he's very obsessive. I respect that about any CEO and any leader. You can tell that he loves his company. You can't hate someone for that. But the comment that he made was talking about how his business, Palantir, in the next 5 years is expected to 10x revenue. That's so great and that's so impressive. If you were not already trading at a 600 multiple of the PE ratio. Let's pull it up. It was 600 yesterday. I think now that it's retraced. Oh, look at this. It's retraced quite a bit. PE ratio after the most recent update, 417 times its earnings. So again, it is beginning to come down. Its net income is now finally at the billion. Its revenue is 3.8 billion. But think about that. 3.8 billion in revenue, overall revenue. But the company was worth nearly 500 billion for a short period of time. Now it's 450 billion. There's just a disconnect. There's nothing wrong that if you believe in the company, invest in it. Maybe this is the dip buy opportunity you choose to take advantage of Palantir because you think that the AI revolution is really just getting started. But I think that the reason that there is uncertainty right now is due to, are these valuations getting ahead of themselves? And that's what a lot of people are asking themselves now. Why now and why not just a few months ago? I don't know. It just seems like sentiment is beginning to change. People are beginning to question and red flags are beginning to be raised. And this is the moment where you shouldn't be scared. It's not like, hey, sell all of your Palantir. Heck no, that's not ever, if you're an investor in any company, during retracements like this, you should just ask yourself, what was your original intention? Oh, long-term intention. Okay, well then during moments like this, I would really just be prepared. Have cash on the sidelines. Don't be over leveraged that you end up getting margin called if this thing does retrace a little bit harder. Don't short, right? You guys know that for me, I like intraday shorts on companies like this from time to time. But again, that's not for beginners. That's not really for people that believe in the company. If you want to hedge it, that's up to you. But again, do not short if you're a beginner. I really wanted to have a level-headed conversation with you guys about Palantir, about the uncertainty with the market. And although the market is somewhat uncertain, it tried to quickly recover. We captured it in today's live trading session where, again, we let the market push up, become overbought, and then now that it began to retrace, we're not surprised. Sentiment, it looks like, is beginning to change, and we cover this every morning during our live sessions. It is so important during moments like this to ask yourself, is sentiment in your favor to support the trade that you are about to take? And it made sense to short, which is again why we decided to short in today's live trading session. So again, if you ever want to watch me trade live, it's the second link in the description down below. We have a big discount link in there for you. So whenever you're ready, feel free to join. Other than that, Palantir, again, no one is taking away its credibility. It's an incredible company with amazing growth. Like, you have to give credit where it's due. It does have amazing growth. But this story of, why would you ever want to short us? Like, why are you betting against us? Or why don't you think that we're worth this? Because you simply don't provide that much value to what you're currently valued at. Man, this might be a very outlandish comparison, but I want to give it to you because I know it will make sense to a lot of you. Like when the WNBA says that they want to get paid more, but they don't bring enough value. It's very easy for a lot of men to be like, hey, well, it makes sense why you're not getting paid more. You know, the business itself is not that profitable. Yes, like you're a great athlete. It's just, it doesn't bring that much business. So therefore we can't yield that much of, you know, a salary or incentives to compensate you more than what the business makes. Again, it doesn't take away that they're great athletes, but in respect, you could only be worth so much for a company that is only producing so much. I would say the same thing with Palantir and a lot of these AI companies with exponential growth. I think it's great to respect and acknowledge how impressive their growth is, but to not forget that these are businesses, that when the valuation is so far-fetched from what the company and what the business actually produces, then that's where the premium and the overvaluation begins to kind of raise some red flags. Shouldn't scare you, it should just make you aware. Don't be leveraged at overbought levels, and maybe it's not the worst idea to have cash on the sidelines so you can actually take advantage of deals once they present themselves. This is nothing. This is just an intraday retracement. Who knows? By next week, Palantir can be back at all-time highs, back to 222. Why not? We all know that markets are incredibly irrational. They find any and every reason on why to recover. Do not think that one day defines a market reversal. There is no significant trigger. There's just a possible change of sentiment that is beginning to present themselves. And that's all this video is to remind you that you shouldn't be discouraged to question uncertainty, but create a plan of action. No one can predict the future, but all of us can always prepare for it. Less leverage, more cash on the sidelines to take advantage of when true deals begin to present themselves. I wish you guys nothing but the best. Again, I always like to try to lead by example, especially for our beginners that join LPP. Whenever you feel like you're ready, second link in the description down below, and I'll see you tomorrow at Market Open for our live session. Take care, team.